Okay, we just finished up a juicy upper body session and I'm gonna take you through some of my favorite cues and some intensity tips that is going to take your upper body sessions to the next level. We're gonna be hitting shoulders and we're gonna be hitting some back. So if you wanna level up your training, keep on watching. All right, let's get into upper body. Oh, hello there. Happy Sunday, guys. So today, I'll be honest, today's been a bloody schmozzle. So we went to a wedding last night. We got home at like 1 a.m. I decided not to set an alarm and just wake up and just see how the day goes. What is going on with the lighting? Let's hope the lighting sorts itself out. So as I was saying, got home at 1 a.m., didn't set an alarm for this morning, and I did want to go to the gym. Not like first thing, but I woke up this morning at about 7, decided let's have a bit of a slower morning, woke up, had my crumpet, had my hot chockey while I meal prepped, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go to the gym. Natso and I were gonna go and look at some TVs and stuff for our new place. And then, I don't know, Natso was taking too long. I didn't get to go to the gym bright and early. And then we went out for breakfast, super center, we went and got a TV and all the things. Anyways, so now it's 12 o'clock. I went to Anytime Fitness to go and train, and oh my God, the amount of people there on a freaking Sunday afternoon. What are you guys doing? Like, I thought I would be the only one in the gym. Go and get a life. It was way too packed and I was like, I'm not dealing with this right now. Like, I just can't. So I came to work and I decided after all of that, let's film a mic'd up session today. So I don't really know what this is gonna be like, but first things first, we are warming up. And to be honest, even as a coach, a PT, like, I've done so many different types of sports and stuff, and it's so important to warm up. But I'll be honest, guys, I freaking hate warming up. Like, if there is one thing that I do not want to do in my workout, it's warming up. I'm doing an upper body session today, so all I want to do right now is do some external and internal rotations just to warm up the shoulder joints. Obviously, I don't want to get injured, you know, when pushing weights. So it is important to warm up. As much as I hate it, I do need to get better at it, and I always make my clients warm up. Even if they've come in late, they're running 10 minutes late, I'm like, first things first, do your warm up. It is so freaking important. Generally, that'll almost be my upper body workout warm up, but I will also warm up my shoulders a little bit more as well, doing some arm circles, big ones, small ones. And then I don't typically warm up the way that a lot of people would and take like the nice time to warm up and make sure everything's all activated nicely. I do still go lighter on my first couple of sets as well, so it's not like I'm just pretty much walking into the gym and then smashing my upper body or my lower body and like gonna get injured. Like, I'll always still go lighter and I'll work up to my top set at a heavier weight, so it's not just like I'm coming in and I'm trying to smash it and then get out of there. So I do still warm up in that aspect of warming up through my sets. Before we continue though, how cute is this little outfit? Muscle Nation, as always. This is one of the tops that I have been wearing most recently. I freaking love the back of these. I literally just filmed a video yesterday on my Muscle Nation monthly favorites, and this is one of them. And then these shorts I actually didn't include in the monthly special, but these sculpt and shape your ass so nicely. Go and get yourself a pair. So today's workout is a lot of shoulders and back. So back and shoulders, baby. I freaking love back and shoulders. I've actually been having a little bit of a wrist injury lately. And no, it's not because I don't warm up properly, but I don't know if you guys have followed since I competed last year in April. However, I did have a bit of an injury just before my show, about 6 or 7 weeks out from my show. I did have a wrist injury. I got scans and everything, and there was like a ganglion cyst in my wrist, and apparently it can just go away. You can manage it. So a lot of the movements that I do in my upper body days and even lower body days with holding weights and stuff is making sure my wrist stays stacked over the top of each other. Otherwise, when I do, like, I just don't have as much bend in my wrist, unfortunately, but that's okay. It is a little bit sore at the moment. So again, still not going too heavy because I am just trying to manage that, which is really freaking annoying because I feel like it's just something that just hangs around until you actually go and get it drained or something like that. So what is going on with this lighting? I'm not impressed. Do you know what I'm gonna do to fix the lighting? I'm gonna turn the bloody lights off. Hopefully that looks better. It's so freaking hot today. Sunday in Sydney, it is 34 freaking degrees outside today. What? Yesterday was so hot too. It was like 30 degrees, but today's even hotter. First set, I'm just doing 6 kilos here. Okay, keeping my wrist nice and stacked, walking my shoulders down the bench, getting nice and tight. And like I said, just warming up the shoulders this first set, not going too heavy, just getting used to the movement, keeping everything stacked, focusing on my breathing and just warming up all the joints. So typically I wouldn't count that as my first set. It was just a warm up. And your second set, again, you can probably do another warm up set here, but me being me, wanting to get in and out, I'm just gonna go straight into a working set right now. First set, I'm gonna be doing 12 reps, 8 kilos, and just using that same setup as I did before. Keeping my wrist nice and stacked. Walk my shoulder blades down the bench, get nice and tight. Big breath in before I come down. Control the weight to the shoulders, then drive back up. This does have actually a pause in it at the bottom, so pausing at the bottom before exploding back up. 8. My clip is digging into the back of my neck. That set wasn't too hard. Still warming up all the muscles and everything. I'm gonna take this clip out of my hair because it's annoying. So I've got 4 sets of shoulder press today. That was my first set, 8 kilos, 12 reps. So some of these sets I'm going to be doing a reps in reserve. So what that means is how many reps could I have done past that 12 reps? So how many reps did I still have left in the tank? For that set, I don't know, I probably have about 7 to 8 reps in the tank. It wasn't too hard. My coach actually wants me to be working at a 1 to 2 rep in reserve. So these sets should be quite hard. Again, like I said, I probably should have done another warm-up set before going into a working set, or I should have just increased the weight a little bit higher. However, you don't want to increase the weight too much from your warm-up set because that's where you get injuries. As you can tell, I've probably just been a little bit lazy and I haven't pushed myself to where my coach wants me to be working at. I have a 2-minute rest and then I'm going to do it all again. A hot tip that I like to give my clients when doing shoulder press as well is I like to have, say, 3 points of contact. For me, probably 4, but 3 main points of contact. I want my shoulder blades to be nice and tight down the bench. I want my butt to be nice and stable. And I also want to screw my feet into the floor. So I've got my back and my shoulder blades nice and tight on the bench. I've also got my butt nice and stable into the seat. And I've got my feet planted down into the floor. So again, creating more stability. So what that looks like when you lift up the weights. I like to get set first. So walk my shoulder blades down, get that nice arch, nice stability through the back. Core stays switched on, glutes are down into the seat, and then my feet are down in the floor. Okay, so we're going for 10 reps now, pausing at the bottom, big breath in at the top, hold for 1, drive back up. And the other thing, so I said that I like to have 3 main points of contact. For me, 4. The 4th one was being my head. So I wanted my head to be nice and stable on the bench. I don't want to be pulling my neck forward because then I'm going to be trying to hold my neck up nice and stable while completing my set. So what I want to do is ensure that my head is back. Whew, I'm a bit out of breath. I want to ensure that my head is back so everything stays nice and stable as well. The hardest part about training mic'd up is not listening to music. Like, I could definitely put my headphones on right now, but no, I just won't listen to any music. Okay, so my next exercise is another shoulder exercise, and this is one of my favorite shoulder exercises. I love lateral raises, but adding it onto a cable is awesome. You get a little bit more tension. I also love adding an ankle cuff or a little attachment on here so you are taking out the grip strength in your forearms when you are working your shoulders. It just allows you to potentially get a couple more reps, potentially go a little bit heavier, so you aren't actually holding onto the weight. You are making the attachment do all the work. I've just attached this to the cables and I've put it at hip height. So when my arm is down, this is exactly where, you know, the most tension is going to be in the movement is right at the bottom. So you're going to get a nice big stretch. You're going to get all that tension through your shoulder before coming back up to the top, rather than having the attachment all the way down at the bottom. You're not going to get as much tension on your arm as you would if you have it at hip height. 3 sets, 12 to 15 reps. I'm also doing these behind the back rather than in front. Again, this just allows you as you come back to get just that little bit more stretch before you come back to the top. Ugh. And while I'm enjoying my rest break, let's talk through some of my favorite cues for this one. So regardless whether this is a dumbbell, whether this is a cable, soft bend in your elbow, and you want to think about, like, you don't want to lead with your wrists, like you don't want to turn your wrists up, but I want to think like lead with my pinky. So you're keeping everything in a nice straight line from your wrist to your elbow to your shoulder. Everything should move seamlessly together. And another thing that I like to say is rather than thinking about just going up and down, you want to think about like extending your arm out as wide and as long as you can. So you really feel that nice stretch in the movement. You don't want to think about coming up as high as you can because you're just taking tension off the muscles. You want to think about extending out nice and long, keeping everything nice and stacked and really targeting through that shoulder. Yes. Ooh, what a good pump. Ooh-sa. What have I had for food today? I had 2 pieces of sourdough toast, 1.5 eggs because I didn't finish the egg, I don't think. Some chicken. I also had a hot chocolate and a crumpet this morning, and I had 2 jelly beans when I got to work because I'm a little bit naughty. No, I'm not saying that jelly beans are bad. They are good if you need some quick sugar and whatnot, which is exactly why we have them here at work for our clients. But that is the key word there. They are for our clients, not for the trainers. However, I think we probably eat more than the clients do. So the next exercise we're gonna do is a rear delt fly. Now this is supposed to be on a machine. This is supposed to be on the reverse pec deck machine. However, we don't have a pec deck machine. So I have replicated the machine as best as I can. What I've done is I've grabbed a bench and I've put it up so it's like I am sitting on a seat, and then I have adjusted the cables to be the same height as it would be on a machine. Not gonna lie, I do find this movement quite awkward for me sometimes. I don't know, I feel like I haven't done a machine pec deck fly for a while for my rear delts. I've done it the last few weeks in my program and just tried it again, but it's still one of those movements. I'm just so used to doing them on the cables standing up, and going back to sitting down, it's just a little bit of a different sort of, you know, variation, I guess. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cross the cables over, get nice and comfortable, take a seat, and I know that these benches and stuff get cleaned, so I don't mind having my face on it. But all I'm gonna do is sit close to the bench, and I'm going to try and get nice and tight. Again, I say this movement feels quite awkward for me, so the first few reps might be a little bit ugly, but we're gonna go for 12 reps, coming out nice and wide, using that same cue as we did with our other movement. We are going to try and come out nice and wide rather than trying to come back as far as we can. Okay, we really want to activate the rear delts, and we want to try and avoid getting our traps involved. Oh, I think that was 10. Oh my God. I also like to try and get a big stretch as I come back to the front of the movement. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so what I mean was when I come to the front of the movement, I like to try and get like a big stretch at the top of the movement or at the front of the movement. So I like to come out, and so you do almost round your shoulders forward just a little bit just to get that extra stretch as you come back to the top, and then you pull out nice and wide, nice and long, and feel that nice big squeeze at the back. So you want to stretch out your rear delts at the front, and then you want a big squeeze at the back. So this next exercise is for your lats, and this is one of my favorite exercises, I reckon, in terms of upper body training. It's probably in my top 3. So I do love this movement, and you can do it sitting down as well. However, I do like this one when you're kneeling because you do activate your core as well. And I mean, if you wanna lift a little bit heavier, then it's probably better seated, so you do take out that core stability, I guess. However, for me, I've always loved training core, and I always like to make sure that I am activated. So I do like these because I do get to activate my core at the same time, which is cool. So what I want you to do is set up the cable. You don't want to have the handle all the way to the top of the thing. You want to have it a little bit lower, so when you are kneeling down, I guess it's almost like you're in a straight line rather than being like all the way up here and then having to pull down. So you want your arm to be in a nice straight line along with the cables, and you want to slightly lean forward. I like to kind of kneel on my front leg. Brace your core nice and tight, and you want to feel that big stretch through your lat and all the way up through your arm. Big stretch at the top. You want a nice big stretch through those lats, and you want to squeeze down towards your hip. Okay, so drive your elbow down towards your hip. Breathe in, keep your core nice and strong. Breathe out and squeeze. Next up, we've got a wide grip cable row. We've got 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Let's get it. Oh, I haven't done these for a while. Our final exercise for today is a rope pull down. So again, love this for the back and the lats. I really, really like the feel of this movement. And I know there's a lot of people and there's a lot of stuff online that says like the burn doesn't necessarily mean that it is like the most optimal or it means that it's working, but this is one of those exercises where I just love the feeling of this stretch. I love the feeling of this burn. It just feels like a great exercise and I feel like it really works well for me. There is a couple of different attachments you can also use for this movement. So you can use the cable rope, which is what I'm going to be probably using today. I'll see how my wrist feels, but I'll show you all different variations. So what you can do with this one is, well, this is too late. Your knuckles facing each other and you want to pull down nice and hard on the cables, stand back, big stretch up the top, and then you want to drive out towards your hips. Okay, so the rope, depending on what length rope you have, it doesn't allow you a lot of room at the bottom to get range of motion. Another one that you can do is you can use both D handles, clip them on the top here at the cable, and same thing. Essentially, you just have a little bit more wrist movement, so you've got a little bit more flexibility in terms of where your wrists go. But same thing, essentially drive down, squeeze out, and then again, similar thing to the rope, you might not get as much range of motion at the bottom, but again, not necessarily a bad thing. Another way that you can do this is also using one of these bad boys. So called a straight arm pull down, I think, rather than like a rope cable pull down, but essentially same thing. You're not gonna get as much range of motion at the bottom. You're still gonna feel that nice big stretch at the top and you can still get that nice squeeze at the bottom, but this would probably be my last option if I was going to be doing this exercise. I've been loving these little straps. I actually don't really know what they're called, but they've got a couple of different loops in them. So they've got the lower loops and they've got the higher loops. Clip this in here. You do have to stand a little bit further back because this is much longer of an attachment, but I froth this. This is so good. You feel a nice big stretch exactly where you want it. So I rest my hands in here, take a bit more of a step back, and squeeze hard at the bottom. And you can just see, I just get that little bit of extra range at the bottom for that big squeeze. Big stretch up, big drive and squeeze. So we just wrapped up our juicy AF session. I'm still a little bit gassed, but if you did like this video, then please don't forget to give me a like down below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I post weekly videos. It is free for you to subscribe and you can turn those post notifications on if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. I'd love to do some more sessions like this, but oh my God, they take so freaking long to film. I feel like I've been in the gym for so long. So maybe that can be my next mic'd up video, is how to make your sessions time effective. Yes, queen, let's go. Alrighty guys, don't forget, be bright, be bold, be you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Time to go home and eat.